Hello everyone. Dear students, in this video we are going to discuss about unit number 4 of human resource management, and which is training and development. In this video we will be talking about various important aspects of training and development. Coming over to the first important aspect, that is how do we define training. Now, when employees are hired in an organization through the process of recruitment and selection, and once they are placed in their job, their orientation has been done, there is something like general training which is already imparted to them, and then we move on to specific job specific training. Now, why is training essential for any organization? Now, imparting training is very essential so that employees' productivity can be increased, and as a result, employees, they perform less mistakes, they are more committed to their job, and they are more productive on their job. And as a result, overall corporate performance, overall organizational performance, and the overall organizational results improve. So that is why training is very, very essential. So when we are talking about the definition of training, training is a systematic process through which an organization's human resources gain knowledge and develop skills by instruction and practical activities that result in improved corporate performance. So eventually training is imparted to employees so that corporate performance can be improved. According to Edwin B. Flippo, training is the set of increasing knowledge, skills, and attitudes of employees for doing a particular job. So, in training, we basically focus on bringing about positive changes in three aspects. That is KSA. K is knowledge, skills, and A is aptitude. So, by means of imparting training to the employees, we are trying to increase their knowledge, we are imparting them new skills, and we are trying to bring about certain changes in their behavioral aspects so that their attitude towards their job and towards the other employees in the organization improves. So, overall, by means of improving KSA, we try to improve the overall performance of the employee and hence the organization. Now, coming over to why is training important? Now, there are so many reasons why training has become so important for all the organizations. Organizations these days are spending a lot of money on the training of their employees because they have realized that without adequate training of employees, organizations cannot grow. So training is essential for the growth of both the organization as well as the employee. Now, coming over to various reasons because of which the importance of training has gained momentum in these days. First thing is technological changes. Technology keeps on changing at a very fast pace. Therefore, it is very essential that employees, they need to be updated with new techniques, new advanced technology, methods and processes. Then another thing, that customers have become highly quality conscious. Therefore, to keep the customers satisfied, employees need to be trained. In order to enhance productivity of the organization, again, it is essential that training is to be imparted to the employees. When employees are adequately trained, it helps in improving upon their confidence, and as a result, employee turnover and absenteeism reduces by making workforce stability. Then trained employees, they handle their equipments, machines more safely, and as a result, it leads to increased safety of employees. Similarly, trained employees, they can perform better work on their own. They need not be guided or supervised so closely, and as a result, it leads to better management. So because of these reasons, training has increased, the importance of training has increased in the previous years. Now coming over to why training is imparted to employees, some of the objectives that need to be attained by means of imparting training to employees are as given below. First thing, it leads to increased job satisfaction and morale of employees because trained employees, they feel more confident. That is why it helps in increasing employee motivation. They tend to perform better, their productivity increases, therefore motivation also increases. Their chances of earning better incentives, that also increases. Their overall performance evaluations, that also improves. Therefore, satisfaction, morale, and motivation of employee improves by means of giving them adequate training. It results in better financial performance of the organization. Employees get more acquainted to new technologies, methods, and processes. Therefore, efficiency and effectiveness are improved. It brings about innovation in strategies and products, reduces employee turnover because employees feel more motivated to perform on their job, and as a result it provides stability of workforce. It helps in enhanced image of the organization, because when we are imparting trainings, there are so many different kinds of training. There is posh training, there is training in ethics and code of conduct. So all these things all eventually helps in improving the image of the organization as well. Now, how training is useful for employees as an individual? Very first thing, that training creates a feeling of confidence among the employees. It gives them a sense of safety and security at the workplace, and as a result, employees tend to feel more confident. Then it helps them in imparting new skill sets. So therefore, the personal, which is a personal asset of any employee. So it helps in personal growth of the employees. These new skills can be used by the employees in their future job prospects as well. Training provides an opportunity for quick promotion as well as for self-development. Training helps an employees in earning higher incentives, because trained employees, they perform better, they are more productive, and as a result their remuneration improves, their productivity improves, and their chances of earning higher incentives, that also improves. Training develops adaptability among workers. They don't worry when work procedures and methods are changed. So training gives them a sense of safety, that if technology is changing and if the employees are being adequately trained, then some kind of job security is there in the mind of the employees. Then furthermore, as far as employee safety is concerned, trained employees will definitely handle machines better, they will commit less mistakes, and as a result it will be good for their personal safety as well. Coming over to different types of training and development. Now, there are different types of training programs which are used in any organization. The first one is induction or orientation training. As discussed previously as well, induction training or orientation training is a general training which is imparted to all those new employees who join an organization, because the purpose of this training is basically to give a bird's eye view to the new employees, so that they get to have a general overview, general information about organization, various policies, procedures, code of conduct, the behavior to be adopted in the organization, informal interaction with other new members as well as with other previous members of the organization, so that an employee basically feels at home when he joins a new company and does not feel out of place. So that is induction or orientation training. When an employee is now put onto the job, specific job related skills need to be imparted to the employees. So that is where job training comes into picture. It helps the employees in handling their job roles in a more confident way. Another is apprenticeship training. It is more closely related to vocational training. Under this, both knowledge as well as skills for doing a particular job are imparted to the students, and in India we call them under the category of earn while you learn schemes. So this training is desirable in industries which require a constant flow of new employees to become all-round craftsmen. It is more prevalent in printing industry, construction industry, electricians, places where electricians are required, mechanics are required, welders are required. So in all these cases, apprenticeship training is more applicable. Then we talk about internship training. Now, under this method, we've heard that many professional institutions, professional colleges that impart professional degrees to the students, maybe BTech, BBA, MBA, MCA, and such other professional courses, the students are supposed to undergo compulsory internships in corporate sector, so that they can utilize the knowledge that they have learned during their classrooms and can merge that knowledge with the practical exposure. So that is basically internship training. Then we have the next one, that is refresher training or retraining. As the name indicates, it is a training which is meant for already existing employees of the organization. The purpose is to acquaint the existing workforce with the latest methods of performing their job and to improve their efficiency further. Last but not the least, another type of training is training for promotion, and as the name indicates, the purpose is to impart some new skills to the employee so that the employee becomes fit for undertaking higher job responsibility. This serves as a very motivating factor for all the employees in the organization. Now coming over to the methods of training and development. Now when we're talking about methods of training and development, these methods can be grouped under three heads. First category of methods is on-the-job training, then we have off-the-job training, and then the third category is vestibule training. Now let us first of all start with the first category, that is on-the-job training. Now on-the-job training methods are the most commonly used training methods for all the levels of employees in organizations. Now what on the job basically means is that training is imparted to employees within their job premises. Its objective is to make sure that the employees, they at least maintain a minimum acceptable standard of performance in the shortest possible time. Now some of the on the job training methods that are used in organizations are coaching. The coaching is wherein a supervisor or a superior is involved with a new hire or a new employee, and these new people work under the supervisor's instruction and guidance, and the supervisor usually gives them demonstrations and usually give them instructions to show them how the work is to be performed. So that is coaching. Then we have this understudy. Now this makes the trainee an assistant to the current job holder. The trainee learns by experience, observation and imitation. And he learns in such a way that once the current job holder leaves, the understudy is now completely ready to occupy his job role next. Then there are flexible projects. This is a very flexible kind of a training device wherein assignments are given to the new employees. Trainees may be asked to perform special assignments and to learn on the basis of those. They may be given certain activities and so that they can learn from those things. Then selective reading, again, organization individuals can gather information regarding the organization through selective reading and through by means of journals and books, so that they get to know about what kind of culture, environment, what kind of job duties and responsibilities are to be followed. Then the second category of methods is off the job training methods. Now off the job training methods, in this the trainees have to leave their workplace and devote their entire time to the training purpose. In these methods, development of trainees is primary and any usable work produced during training is secondary. Now, during the on-the-job training, the employees are supposed to do their work. They are supposed to perform their tasks, duties, and responsibilities along with the training that is going on for them simultaneously. But when we are talking about off-the-job training methods, in this, the workers or the employees, they are free from their regular tasks, duties, and responsibilities, and they are required to focus just on the training aspect. Some of the examples by means of which off-the-job training can be imparted: special lectures come discussion. Now this is basically a classroom kind of a training setup where knowledge and skills are imparted to the employees. The lecture method, it can be used in large groups, and as a result cost per trainee is low. It is quite an effective method wherein a lot of theoretical input may be imparted to the employees before the employees are ready to do their practical tasks. Then second kind of method is conference training. In this method, the participants pool their ideas and experience in attempting to arrive at improved methods of dealing with the problems. participants gather in a large hall or a seminar room or an auditorium where there are so many people who are coming together, who are discussing problems, discussing issues, and they are trying to arrive at some new methods or new ways of dealing with the issues. Then the next method is case study method. Now this is a very popular technique which is followed mostly in all the management colleges across the world. Now it is one of the most common form of training. A case, what is a case? A case is basically a written account of a trained reporter or analyst seeking to describe an actual situation. Now the cases are presented in front of the employees. The employees are supposed to go through these cases, read them, assess them, analyze them, and then they are supposed to answer certain questions which are there, and they are supposed to answer those questions in a manner that they have to assume that whether if they had been really into that situation, what would have been their stance on that particular situation. So that is what a case study method is. It is a very good method of developing decision making skills, logical ability, analytical and reasoning ability among the employees. Then the next method is laboratory method. Now this laboratory training basically adds to conventional training by providing situations in which the trainees themselves experience their own interaction, some of the conditions they are talking about. It is more concerned about changing individual behavior and attitude, and it is more successful in changing job performance than conventional training methods. Now, so overall, what we can say is these are some of the benefits of training and development program for any organizations. Workers are helped to focus and prioritize. Priority is placed on empowerment of employees. It helps in improving the productivity, affecting the bottom line success of the organization. It makes the employees more confident, keeping and developing key performers, enabling team development, and contributing to better team and organizational morale. Similarly, employees are updated about any kind of new technology, any kind of new procedures and methods. They are able to enhance their skills, and they are able to align their goals with the goals of the organization. So these are some of the benefits of a training program. Similarly, it helps in improving job satisfaction, motivation, and morale of employees. It gives organizations a fresh perspective, unbiased professional opinion or exploration, and helps in evaluation also. The next that we are going to discuss about are the differences between training and development. Now, training and development are two terms which are generally used together in common sense. So, generally these two terms go hand in hand, but there are certain differences between these two things. Now, wherein training is basically imparting job specific skills, it basically helps in increasing the job knowledge at hand. The present job which is given to the employees, training is specifically related to that present job. Whereas when we talk about development, it means growth of an employee in all aspects. It basically focuses on shaping the attitude of people. When we talk about KSA, training is more concerned with skills aspect and knowledge aspect. Development is more concerned with attitudes aspect. So the term training is generally used to denote imparting specific skills among operative workers and employees. Training is mostly, in most of the cases, the word training is used for operative employees, whereas the word development is more associated with executive employees. Training is for short period. Training programs generally last for, say, suppose 15 days or 6 months, or a maximum training program could be for a period of 1 year, which rarely happens. But development is a lifelong process. It has a long-term perspective. Training is strictly job centered, whereas development is career centered because it helps an employee to further grow in the career. The role of a trainer is very important in training, whereas all the development is basically self-development. There is external motivation in case of training, whereas in case of development, internal motivation has to be there. Let us move on to some of the more methods of training which we did not discuss earlier. For example, on the job training, we talked about coaching. Then there are two more things, that is understudy and job rotation. Now, when we talk about understudy is a person or a new hire or a new trainee who works under the existing employee as if to train for the existing employee's job role. So as soon as the existing employee leaves, this understudy must be completely ready to occupy his position next. Position rotation or job rotation is as commonly it is known as. It is basically moving a person from one job to another category of job so that the person acquires some new kind of skills and is ready to occupy some other job roles also in the organization. When we're talking about off the job training, it is basically training away from the place of work. So lecture method we've discussed, conference method we've discussed, case study, projects, then there is sensitivity training, committee assignments. So all these we have discussed earlier as well. Now the one thing that is left is vestibule training. Now vestibule training is a type of training wherein training is conducted in an adapted environment, and this adapted environment is as close as to the original place of work. Now vestibule is a setup, or we can say it is a model, or it is a simulator where employees are trained. It is usually meant for those kinds of trainings or those kinds of job where providing training on the job may prove to be very risky and expensive. That is why artificial setups are created which are as close as possible to the real world environment, to the real work environment, and these artificial setups, they are called as simulators. So employees are trained in these simulators, and then once they are completely trained, then they are moved to the real work environment. For example, pilots are trained in this way, army people are trained in this way, and many other places. Astronauts, they are also trained in this way. So any kind of a training environment wherein imparting training is actually not possible in the real workplace, because there could be threat to life, threat to property, loss of life, loss of property could be there. That is why artificial setups are created, and that becomes vestibule training. So on the job training, basically it is learning by doing. Coaching, then we discussed understudy, wherein the trainee works as an assistant. Job rotation, to make sure that the worker develops all-rounder skills. Now coming over to how on-the-job training is important. On-the-job training techniques are most appropriate for teaching knowledge and skills. So when we have short span of time and lot of knowledge and skills are to be communicated, are to be taught to these subordinates or to the trainees, then these on-the-job training methods are more suitable. Then it is strongly motivating because the trainee, they get the chance to learn while doing. It is not located in any artificial setup, so therefore it permits the trainee to learn at the actual equipment. It is cheaper as well as less time consuming. Only a few people can be trained at one point of time. But the basic requirement is that the trainer or whosoever the supervisor is, they should have some sufficient time to provide training. So on-the-job training is most effective method of training because it is in complete accord with the three basic laws of learning. That is law of readiness, law of exercise, and law of effect. So over here, the employees are willing to learn. They can, whatever they learn, they can practically implement them, and whatever they are implementing, the effects of that can be observed immediately. So that is how it is one of the most effective training method. Vestibule training we've just discussed. It is basically a vestibule basically means a cabin. So as I just told you, the most common place where vestibule training is used is in case of pilots. Pilots are trained in vestibules and then only they are supposed to fly the real aircrafts. So this requires expensive setups and well qualified instructors. So that is why it is a little expensive method of training. When we talk about off-the-job training, it requires the workers to be absent from their job and to focus specially on the training itself. So the workers are basically free of tension of work while they are learning. These are some of the off-the-job training methods, special lecture come discussion. You can see it from the slide. It is basically a classroom training where there are experts and specialists in different areas and they get into some discussion with the trainees. But it has certain limitations as well. Most of the time it ultimately ends up into one-way communication and it violates the principle of learning by doing. At times the trainees, they may not be very active and participative, so this may hamper the process of learning. Conference training or seminar training, as we discussed earlier as well. Organized plan wherein a lot of people working in a group, they meet to seek and develop knowledge and understanding by means of oral participation. People tend to respect the viewpoints of others. They learn new things by listening to others. It basically offers brainstorming. Case study. Over here, the trainees are given some problem or a case. They are supposed to analyze that, arrive at some solutions, and to use their theoretical knowledge to do those practical problems. Role plays are another way how trainees are given situations. They are made to experience what other people may feel. Some kind of constraints are given to them. It basically helps them in understanding, in developing better understanding about others working in a team. Then there are simulation games which also help the employees in developing decision making. In basket exercises are there. The trainees are working in an office setup wherein there is an in basket and there is an out basket. In basket is basically full of memos, reports, letters which an employee has to see throughout the day, which he receives. Then apart from these, the employee may receive some emails, some phone calls. He may be lined up with some meetings. So he has to see that how well he is managing time by doing all these day-to-day routine activities and shifting them to the out basket as soon as they are accomplished. Laboratory training, basically participants are allowed to work under controlled environment. This is a training under controlled environment where external influences are not allowed. So with this, we are coming over to the end of the topic on training and development. Thank you.